Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we are thrilled to have you here wherever you are in the world joining us. Welcome, and hopefully it's welcome back. Our show today is the Business Talk Show, and we're going to be discussing high-performance leadership with our special guest. Before we bring out Dr. Bowen, let's welcome the star of our show, Mr. al.cini. Welcome. Hello.
Dr. Jacalyn, it's so great to be here, and what an important topic. I mean, today's topic is very resonant with me because, I've seen so many examples of poor leadership, and it's not hard to be a good leader, and I think all it takes is a little bit of coaching and education, and that's why I think our guest is going to be such a great guest today.
I certainly do as well. I had the pleasure of meeting him just over the weekend virtually, and he was referred to me by another one of our wonderful guests here, Joseph Stetter. And before we bring out the doctor, I just would like to spotlight you, Al, for you to share about the work that you're doing. It's so important. You've actually branched out since I first met you, and you're also a television show host at another station. So tell us more about your work, please.
Happy to do that. I appreciate the opportunity as always. And by the way, it's always great working with you. It was a conversation we had with our guest. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is one of the finest partners, one of the finest colleagues you could possibly imagine working with. She's on point, very focused, very organized. Now I'm talking more about you than I am about myself. But the truth is, working with you, collaborating with you has been a real pleasure, and I appreciate that opportunity. And as far as what I'm doing is concerned, well, I co-host and co-produce a program with Lisa Manioki and Mark Iorio on rvntelevision.com called The Advocates, where we like to highlight people who are doing good things. And it's a pretty simple mission that we have, and we really always enjoy talking with the guests that we get the opportunity to spotlight, talk about some of the wonderful things they're doing, and that's on rvntelevision.com. And when I'm not doing that, and when I'm not here, we're now conducting workshops for clients using a model we've created called ProFit. And ProFit is a team building exercise that aligns people with the purpose of the team or the organization that they serve and gets it done in half a day. So that's ProFit, and all the contact information is up there on the screen. I'm easy to reach, and I hope people reach out and talk to me about it.
Thank you so much, Al. I appreciate that. And we have added your phone number, which is area code in the United States 212-480-3730. Nice New York number. Hard to get those numbers, isn't it?
It is a 212. I've had it long enough.
It was from one of the episodes of Sex and the City. They were talking about New York area codes and how you couldn't get a 212 anymore. So
212s are gone. I've had that one for 30 years. That's how long I lived there.
Well, hold on to it because that's worth some money.
Not letting it go.
Fantastic. Well, our guest is backstage and from a beautiful location. He apparently is on vacation, which is very nice. He's going to tell us how we can make 7 and 8 figures and go on vacation, have a vacation lifestyle, I would imagine.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I love that too. His name is Dr. Obom Bowen, and he is a business scaling strategist. Let's welcome him to the show. Hello.
Good morning.
See you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Hello to you, Dr. Jacalyn. I think we're having some Wi-Fi issues, and I'm not sure why. So I dialed in both on my phone now and the laptop. Looks like the laptop went down, but I'm happy to be here. And despite whatever issues is happening with Wi-Fi, we are going to storm this through today.
Well,
Fantastic.
wherever you are, I'm telling you, Wi-Fi is the least of your problems. It looks like you're in a pretty happy place right there.
So you are the underdog millionaire, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And to Al's comment, I said, how I work. There's only two things I need in life now. It is Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi. So as long as Wi-Fi is working, Wi-Fi is good. Well, Wi-Fi is asleep with my daughter right now. They get up late in the afternoon because they have late nights. But as the underdog millionaire, our mission and purpose being that is to really help those not necessarily seen it. When you say underdog, most folks think of the underdog, the person that's really the underdeveloped or the under champion, the person that's never succeeded. The underdog is really that person that's not at the level they want to be at. So sometimes we impose our own glass ceiling of success on ourselves. And as a business strategist, our job especially for entrepreneurs, my role is to help them scale and break through that ceiling to get to the next level of growth, of high performance and achievement in their lives.
Well, that begs a question. There are plenty of people out there that I think are just below that level, and
Right.
they're probably too comfortable just below that level. And there's probably something that's holding them back, maybe one big thing that's holding them back that keeps them from getting there. In your experience, Doc, and I know all the people that are watching and listening are going to hear the answer to this. What's the one big barrier that people, I don't want to say, they just refuse to break?
That is a beautiful question, Al. And the greatest barrier, the most important piece that holds us all back is mindset. See, because mindset relates to everything. Mindset ties into our philosophy, and our philosophy is what we know, how we hold it, and how it affects what we do and who we are. So for the next level of growth, the next level of success, in a sense, the next level of income, if you don't have the right awareness or the right mindset for it, it's like we're in the US today with the lottery. There's laws. To someone who actually wins the lottery, they take them to a class for about 3 to 4 days, and they teach them all about financial management and used examples of all the folks that has come and won the lottery. And within 1 to 3 years, they end up being even more financially devastated than they were before they won the lottery. It's because they didn't have the right mindset. Their philosophy wasn't set. And because of that, you have to change what you think up here. When you change what happens upstairs, affects how you speak. It also affects what you do, which affects the results. So in order to change the results, you have to change your mindset.
And that's what you do. So let's say you take the average lucky lottery winner who has been fortunate enough to be given an opportunity, but really doesn't know what to do with it. Where do you start with an engagement with somebody like that, and how do you make that change?
Absolutely. So one of the things we do first is give them an assessment, and that assessment shares with the person where they are in between either having a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, and it falls into one of 3 different categories. You're either fixed, you're either growth, or you're in between. And once we have that assessment, then we know exactly how to teach, and if actually teaching this person is going to be able to help them. So we share with them where they are so they can actually see what's been holding them back, what's been their glass ceiling. And that is, listen, if you have a fixed mindset, you want to grow, you're constantly going to be frustrated. So you have to change your pattern of thinking. If you don't do it, it doesn't matter how much we try to put the information on you. It's just going to feel like a fire hydrant with a fire hose coming out, splashing in your face, but you're not really getting the opportunity to wash your face yourself, right? So you receive the information, but it's not sticking in if you have a fixed mindset.
Okay, real quick, quick follow-up, Dr. Jacalyn. I'm sorry if I'm jumping in. I know you're busting with questions because
Go ahead,
you've already been to the next level and back, so maybe you could tell us how you did it. But for people who've heard the expressions fixed mindset and growth mindset before, but maybe don't quite understand what they mean, maybe you can really quickly summarize that for us.
Absolutely. So in a fixed mindset, human beings behave in predictable patterns. And most of us, the difference, let's use it in between success as it relates to the wealthy and the impoverished of a mindset. Those that have a wealthy mindset are always seeking to grow. Most of those that have an impoverished mindset, since they left, whether it's high school or college, they have a set of behaviors, a set of things, or maybe the books that they've read in the past. They're not really looking to read anymore or do anymore. It's get up, it's go to work, it's come home, it's do the same things, but they want to change. It's kind of like being on the mental hamster wheel. If you do the same things, you'll get the same results. So some folks are so set into the routine, they don't want to change it. And in order for change to occur in one's life or behavior, the first thing they need to do is change the way they think, which affects the way they speak, which leads into the actions that directs results. So you always first must start with what we know up here that affects everything else.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much
That
for
is
sharing that,
really
Doctor.
important.
Absolutely.
And we do have a comment from our dear friend, Joe Stetter. Hello, thanks for being with us. He writes, Dr. Obom, dropping some gold nuggets of wisdom.
Hey, Joe.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Good
So
comment.
here's my question for you. I was in corporate my entire career, and I'll be 60 next month, up until 2020 when I started going out on my own. And I know I absolutely had a fixed mindset because I just believed I could never put the numbers on the board like the people who were number 1, 2, 3, etc. I always did well, but I would consider myself to be sort of a B plus, but never the A, because I just didn't think I had it in me. And when I got tired of being in that routine all the time, I decided I was going to resign and do something else. And now every day, and I mentioned this to Doctor on Sunday, I don't make anywhere near the money that I used to make, but I am just excited. I'm pumped up every day because I'm learning something new. I'm creating something new. And I've never felt like this in my life. I know there are a lot of people who felt the way that I was feeling, who do feel that way. What is it that they can do to break that barrier of fear or that imposter syndrome?
Great question.
Yeah, that is, you're right, Al. That is a great question. And I actually just spoke about this earlier today in a Facebook Live video, talking about being able to use your passion to pursue your destiny. And your destiny is this thing that stirs or aggravates your soul. It's what gets you upset. Every great person out there was upset about something. I mean, you go back from Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, you name them. There was something that they felt was an injustice, and it's that one thing that just aggravates them and their soul to get up every single morning. But the answer to that, finding that destiny, that things that really gets under your skin, is what you're supposed to answer. And when you pursue that passionately, it's doing that thing that you don't necessarily have to get paid for. I remember Bill Gates was interviewed, and they asked him, like, what makes you so successful? And he didn't really say any of the stuff he did. He just said, I'm passionate about inventing, but the things that I invent, they solve problems. And of course, to get those problems solved, people pay for the processes, the systems, the computers, all those things. So for the person that's there that might be experiencing sometimes imposter syndrome, there is something that aggravates you. There's something that gets under your skin that you have an answer to. And many times, I remember this happened to me many times, and I used to say, like, man, I could do this 50 times better than this person or that person. How come they're generating so much money doing X, Y, and Z? Until it got under my skin so bad, and then I have to make a decision. Well, the decision, once you decide, like the word "icide," suicide, homicide, it basically means to cease and desist. I ceased and desist at that time from thinking a specific way, and realized that I had to change, number one, my belief, my behavior, and my action towards what that is. So those are the top 3 things they have to do: change the belief, change the behavior, and change the actions that they're doing. But once you do that, it's not a once in a lifetime thing. It's a consistent thing. It's like you don't take one shower for the year. You take, at a minimum, I take 2 a day. Right? So you have to be consistent with those 3 things once you change them.
Great answer. Thank you.
Really
And a follow-up question that I have, I know that you help people build 7 and 8 figure businesses. Okay. And when I think about me earning 7 figures, I kind of just laugh and go, well, that's never going to happen. And obviously it's my mindset, but it's just in there. I'm being honest. It's in there. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not going to happen for me. So in order to break out of that, I think I'd have to understand. So if I made that kind of money, would I still be me? Because we see these extremely wealthy, rich people, and some of them are true to their core. And then some, I think, kind of get lost and get caught up in the wrong things. But I'd have to know what I would look and feel like making that kind of money. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. You know, one of the things you see a lot, the difference between like wealth and rich. There's a huge difference. Rich is just a person that's not well-rounded. Wealth for me, it falls into the 5 major categories of life. I wrote a book called The 5 F's, which is faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. These individuals that are well-rounded, money doesn't change a person. You hear that a lot, that, you know, money changes people, make them different. It doesn't. What money does is money increases the personification of one's character. So if the character is not well, it's not rounded, they just become, the world doesn't need more rich, I don't want to use the word, a-holes is the best I can say. The world doesn't need more rich snobs. It needs more people that are of good and sound character that can, the more that they earn, the more they want to give back, the more they want to see to change. So that glass ceiling that I deal with a lot in like mega structures, initially like Walmart stores, Jafra Cosmetics, Knights Media Co., Chevron, Walgreens, those large conglomerates that I've worked with in the past, understanding that it is a machine. And once you get to a certain level, the problem with an individual building a business is unlike the same problem with an entity. The entity is always looking to scale. So they know that they need 1 to 3 to 5, sometimes 10 or even 30 new people in different areas of expertise that would master those areas where they're weak. What happens with most people that can't scale from 6, 7, or 8 figures is if they've done something and have gotten to that level, they still think and believe that they have to do it themselves. And I share with them a lot is what I call the finger to fist method. So let's say, not that I'm promoting violence, but if you and I were to get into a fight and I wanted to punch you in the jaw to break your jaw, I'll probably break my finger on your jawbone than if I use the fist. Meaning that to go to the next level, the higher the bracket of income you want, the less you have to be in the business, working more on the business instead of in the business, and the more experts, the more masters in the spaces that you are not proficient in, that you need there, and then you pay them accordingly and leave them to do what they need to do, and that's going to help you to scale. So the greater ability to scale is the greater the ability to step away. Most people don't scale financially or grow their business to the next level because they're still wanting to do it all themselves.
That's important. And that whole idea of changing people's perspectives, I think, is such a great contribution.
Absolutely.
I want to explore with you your commercial offering, because there are people out there who need to reach out to you and find out what you can do for them. And maybe we can start with a 4-day event I think you've got coming up in March.
Absolutely. Yes. So we're in March 9th to the 12th in Orlando. The purpose of that event is to help our clients with 3 specific things. We help them with the mindset. We help them also with giving them the correct skills. So mindset, skill sets, and the action steps needed to take. This event we're doing at a very Star Wars themed mansion. So there's lots of Star Wars shenanigans that's going to be happening. We're going to be having a lot of fun. So the best way to learn is by having fun. We bring out the kid in everyone, and it's easier to learn when you're laughing and having a good time, especially when it's a serious thing like business and mindset and growth and going to the next level. So we'd love to have you come and join us on March the 9th to the 12th.
Well, that sounds great. And Orlando in March is a whole lot better than New Jersey in March.
Right. It most certainly is.
That sounds like a good idea. That's down where Dr. Jacalyn is now. kind of in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm down in Boca, so it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes for me.
About 2
but
hours,
not
2.5
far.
hours away. But beyond that event, if somebody wants to hire you, I guess you're available and offer one-on-one coaching services. And what about training for groups? Do you offer that too?
We do offer that. One of the best ways they can connect with us, we love to start there at the event to make sure that we set the precedent to give them that understanding of what it actually takes. Because for me, typically, we do not take on clients that haven't had a shift in mindset after that inventory. So that weekend is our incubator. That weekend gives us the process and the ability to see how pliable, in a sense, someone's mindset is to new tactics, to new philosophies, to new technology, to anything new to give them the new results they're looking for. So if they're not willing, in a sense, to go through, if you may, a boot camp. And the reason I did this was because I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps and understand that was an indoctrination. It was literally, it was a brainwashing to think a certain way, to have a certain level of success in a specific entity or a specific environment with the military. After 20 years of success, well, they kind of just, you retire and you go figure the rest out on your own. And what I've learned was I had to reframe, retrain, reintegrate myself back into society, especially after going to combat. So once given the assessment, we put them into the boot camp, which is our undercover way of really checking you out to see if you are pliable enough to be trained. I refuse clients more than anything else when we find out, like, listen, you want X, but you're not willing to do Y. So if they're not the personality to work with us to grow, I don't take the client on.
Oh, that's it sounds like a great program, and the March opportunity sounds like a terrific opportunity for people to.
Absolutely.
That's it's a turning point, really, for a lot of people.
Correct.
To make that course correction finally that puts you on the path that can help you get to that next level. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. We do have a couple of comments from Joseph. That is why entrepreneurs need to seek mentors at each stage of growth and scaling. Absolutely. And Dr. O, you are my father. I feel the force.
May the force be with you, young Padawan.
But I love what you said, Doctor, about someone being coachable, because it's so important. If people are steadfast in their thoughts, then there is always going to be that glass ceiling. And I was thinking, as you were talking, a great reason to want to be on that path to make 7 or 8 figures is to help other people, is to give back, not necessarily to go collect homes and things, but to help other people who are not able to have the opportunities that we have.
Exactly. You know, giving back is one of the most important keys to success, next level achievement, and growth. Every large corporation have between 1 to 5 different things that they tie into, or a better word to use would be tithe into, that they give back. They understand reciprocity, which is really the first spiritual law of wealth. Right? Whatever you give is returned to you tenfold. And then the second law is, once you give, is the law of expectancy. So once you give, you expect to get it back. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the exact same person or source, but because it is the law, and you don't break the spiritual laws, just like you don't break man-made laws or you end up in jail. But where do you end up spiritually? You end up in financial jail, which means you or the organization are struggling because you're not following these laws. And it's important to give. My wife and I, we have several foundations we give to. We have our own nonprofit organizations too that do the same, because we understand it's not receiving then giving, it's giving then receiving.
It's that's such a great attitude overall. I mean, as the world would be a better place if everybody played it that way.
Yes, it would.
So I mean, it's good for society. It's good for business too. That's I've been to so many chamber events and networking events where people get together. 99% of the time, when somebody introduces himself, their goal is to try to get you to buy what they're selling.
Right.
1% of the time, they're trying to get to know you well enough to know how they can help you. And oh, by the way, this is what I do, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So just getting people to make that shift into serving other people rather than trying to target them. Even in marketing and in sales, we use military language to describe people that we want to interact with and be friendly with. So we call
exactly, and you're
and it's crazy. It's just upside down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Al. It's crazy that the attitude of giving before receiving. And one of the things, so we have a group called the Millie Club, and we do networking every Friday. There's three things I teach our community to do when you're networking, because we have two ears and one mouth. And I love Dr. Jacalyn's piece on being able to listen and intently, right? Listening first to understand is much better than always just trying to get your point out there. In our networking sessions, we teach them first to ask, how can I serve? What's important to you? What's your goal? And how can I serve? Those three questions gives you the opportunity to really listen, to get to know someone. Forget the process of you always trying to get what's out there. If you really get to know that person, both of us come into the room, we want to do business. It's better if I learn who you are, I understand what you do, and I could serve you. That's reciprocity. If I'm giving to you first, you're going to give back. It doesn't have to be directly. So if we have 10 interactions together and I'm serving you and Dr. Jacalyn out, right? At some point, you guys are going to say, like, what this guy, Obom, he's such a great guy, always helping out. I just realized I don't even know anything about him. So then it's natural that you start asking those same questions that I've already have clarity and answer on for you. And sometimes it's not doing business directly with you. It's referring me to someone that would be a better fit for myself. That way, in that reciprocity nature, we are doing more business, or we're generating more income. And sometimes you're not a client of mine, I'm not a client of yours, but getting more of an additional finger, an appendage to make a stronger fist is what's key and what's important. The wealthy spend a great portion of their time, between 60 to 70% of their time, networking, connecting, and collaborating. But most folks when they hear that statement, they think networking is going and like giving out their business card and just telling everyone what they do. In a sense, I call it verbally vomiting on everyone around in the room. It's not even a good mental picture. But, when you go to network and connect, it's really just finding 2 to 3 people. For me, I go to an event, hundreds of folks. It's to find 2 to 3 relationships I can build and strategically help, and eventually that is returned to me.
That sounds like the golden rule.
It really is. It really is.
Doctor, I'm wondering, when you have this upcoming event, you've had events in the past, and you find people who are coachable and they are interested and they say, yes, take me to the promised land. What does that process, that engagement look like?
So, well, that's a great question. Thank you for that. It depends where we've met and what part of the process they are. If they're kind of like in the beginning process or the beginning stages, one of the things I do is introduce them to our Millie Club membership, which we meet twice a week. I teach a lot of classes and courses on business, on finance and success. We have a lot of professionals come in, taxes, all the things that you need to be financially literate. We raise the financial literacy level. If they're above that, then it's really setting up a strategy call to find out basically who they really are, what they're really looking to do, and how I might really be able to serve. Many times I sit down with so many folks and realize about 70% of them, they're not ready for me, but I know and I'm connected to so many other entrepreneurs that are a fit for their journey. And I would either recommend them to get help, and after that, then they could come back to me to take them to the next level. If they're a fit for me, I recommend it. I'm not pushy, but what tends to happen with folks, because my prices aren't the least expensive on the planet, it's pretty more on the higher end. So it's really finding that client that really wants to move. When they're ready for me, there's the old adage, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, the teacher appear at times, and I do for them, but they're not financially capable. So I get them into the circle or the help that they need to get them where they need to be financially to be able to take them to that next level.
So, doctor, just to clarify, it sounds like if someone wants to work with you, and they don't have the finances to do so, I always feel like you can put it out to the universe. I didn't think that when I was in corporate, but now I really feel like if it's something you really want and you know it's going to take you to the next level, the money will come because you can be of service to other people and it will come back to you, as you said.
Exactly. Yeah, the money will always come. And sometimes, so for me personally, I believe in an exchange of value. Money follow values. For example, I had one of my greatest content developers who couldn't afford our services, and I was going to hire him for his services. So I paid him for his services, which he then returned used to pay for my services. And the reason I did that is most folks will always say, like, let's exchange services. Well, if you're just exchanging services, you're not really exchanging true value. It's better to actually have the money cross paths. So there is a psychological piece that happens when, let's say it's books. So I have so many folks who, I'm an author, will say, hey, let's exchange books. And I says, no, how about you buy my book and I buy your book? Even if it's the same amount, there's a psychological difference. And it's the one thing that they have to understand with wealth. I have your funds and you have my funds. We're not necessarily exchanging the value. So at times, there are some of those that I do a value exchange. But of course, if the value is in kind, I make sure I exchange mine into their accounts first and eventually have that reciprocated back to meet that need. But people can also be very creative and get funding and provide services. A lot of the things that we do, we provide affiliate packages for them, and they can use that to pay for it without even having to come out of pocket also.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting because I feel like if you are able to look at where you are today and look at where you want to go and get unstuck and out of your own closed off, limited perspective, then where you can go is up to you. And working with people like yourself. That point that Joseph made, I know when I first started this 2.5 years ago, I started with Al, and Al's been my mentor ever since. And at some points, I've had maybe 6 people as mentors. It's so important.
Yeah, it is very important. I have mentors and coaches in all areas. For me, I'm a little different compared to the average person when it comes to mentorship. So mentorship is not something you pay for. The mentor is someone who is personally invested in your growth and success because you've been I would say, pliable student, someone who's willing to learn. Coaching is what you pay for. I mentor between 3 to 10 annually. No more than 10, because it takes a lot of my personal energy, and it's not something that I receive or ask for remuneration for at all. That mentoring is because I care and I love and I want to develop that person. Coaching is different, right? You'll pay me to coach you. And the mentorship is more of that bigger brother, fatherly advice, the person who's further along in their process that can help you that you need. So I don't charge for mentorship, but I do mentor, but I do have multiple coaches in many areas. I had a life coach, I had a health coach, I have coaches in every area. So whatever area I'm seeking growth, I hire someone. That's the best way for me to really shorten my learning and growth process, so I don't have to try to do all the work myself. For example, if I have to read 50 books on wealth, rather find the guys that wrote the books and be them to mentor me, because I'm getting the book to come live. Now, I'm still going to read the book, but I'm just not going to read the book alone. I would rather invest so I can get the shortcut. This is where I kind of came up with the phrase, if you want to go faster, partner with a master. I would rather have the master in the space teach me, because the book was written at one stage of their life of mastery, And now, depending on how long ago they've written the book, they have fine-tuned and mastered that process so that they could simplify even the learning curve for myself and for others.
Okay. That's now, in order to break through, I mean, I'm learning a lot from this, Dr. Obom, and I really appreciate
Thank you.
the time today because it's so educational. One of the ways that I break through is by changing my mindset so that I understand that a few course corrections in the way I believe about myself and about the work I do can make a huge difference in my performance. So I know you can help me with that. But there may be other barriers too. Like, for example, I may not be very organized. And as a result, I'm not paying attention to cash flow. And I'm not, my books are a mess and I'm not really keeping them very well. That might be part of my problem. And I may be making something that the market doesn't want. Or I might have something the market wants, but don't know how to represent it to the market in a compelling way. In other words, there's all kinds of advice somebody might need to get to that next level besides mindset. Can you help get somebody on a path where they can get assistance for problems like that?
Yes, absolutely. So, part of our assessment helps put them in one of two categories to understand, first, what is the main source of motivation for that individual? So in life, we are either pushed by pain or we're pulled by vision, right? The things that are pleasurable to us or the things that are painful to us. It's where, we hear a lot of the phrases like faith and fear can't coexist. Now, some people need to be encouraged from a position or they need to be motivated from a position, meaning those who are the vision drivers, they need to be inspired. Those who are motivated by pain, they need to be pushed. They need to be encouraged. They need someone there on a daily or a weekly basis, right? So a lot of athletes who constantly was a pain in the butt to the coaches, it's because they're pushed by the pain. So the coach have to figure out like which one of them at the core needs to be motivated by pain and which one of them needs to be motivated through inspiration, meaning the goal or the daily tasks, right? So what it is for someone to really move is understanding the analogy. It's like a dog sitting on a nail. It's painful. The dog is crying and it may not move because that dog is motivated by the pain. Until it gets painful enough, he'll get off the nail. Now, a different dog, as soon as he got touched, he's gone. So for myself, I'm a vision type motivational individual. I only need the goal. The goal comes first and I seek it regardless. Doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter what I have to go through, what I have to do over, under, around, or through, whatever it takes, I'm willing to do. But some people are not the same. So it's once you break it down to what their basic motivation is, if they're one that's pushed by pain or pulled by vision, then we create the path that helps encourage, inspire, develop, or sometimes the Marine comes out, right? Who is that coach that drives them? So there is no one way until you find out how that person actually behaviorally responds to instruction.
Fascinating. And, there's so much more for us to discuss. We're actually out of time, unfortunately.
Oh,
so I know. So, Doctor, we've discussed a lot about how people can work with you and about the upcoming event that you have. But for people who are wanting even more and they want to do one-on-one with you, they want to really help you have you help them scale their business. So please let people know what's the best way to get in touch with you, and of the coachable people out there, who do you want to contact you?
Absolutely. Two of the fastest ways would be to find me on Instagram. I know a lot of folks are on Instagram, so it's at Dr. Obom Bowen, or Facebook, the same thing. But if you want to go directly, see more of our work and what we do, you can go directly to theunderdogmillionaire.com and register to come to one of our events where we can work together. But I love connecting. So if you find me on social media and start a conversation, approachable, it doesn't matter the distance we are. That's just space and time. But I love connecting and reaching out and helping.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of the beautiful, exciting location where you are and for
Thank you.
sharing
Look at
with
that.
us. And wow, gorgeous, gorgeous. And thank you to Joseph for referring you. We really do appreciate it. So,
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
all right, we'll look forward to having you back on another show or this show where we can continue our conversation. Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you, Doctor.
Bye for
Same
now.
here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Wow, that was a great show, wasn't it?
It was a great show, and it was a common problem that a lot of people have, not just in their business, but also in their personal lives. So that I think there was a lot of advice in the program itself. I hope people will go back and watch it on YouTube later. But an awful lot of advice still to be gleaned from Dr. Obom, who is accessible. People should call him.
For sure. And just as I mentioned, I met with him on Sunday and I was super pumped up. I was like, wow, I want to know more. I want to
Good.
spend some more time with him. So, Al, I shared during the show that I've had limiting beliefs about the ability to earn 7 or 8 figures. How about you? Have you ever had that, or have you always been like,
My biggest, I think sometimes my biggest problem is that I have a tendency to see the trees, and sometimes I kind of lose sight of the forest because of it. And that's a little bit of a mindset shift. I mean, in a way, I've never believed in fake it till you make it. An awful lot of people think you just fake it till it's funny. What's his name? The guy who has the a virgin. You know what I mean. Anyway, he was recently saying, fake it till you make it, take the job, get into the job, do the job. Once you figure it out, it'll be okay, but don't say no to an opportunity, even if you don't know how to do it. Richard Branson said that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I hope that's not your philosophy when you're hiring pilots for your airline, because I mean, it is limiting that you think you have to cover all the details before you can move forward. And sometimes I think I get held up by that. But then again, it's important to know where the hell you're going and how the hell you're going to get there. And you need to have some kind of a plan too, in addition to the gumption and attitude that when you get there, you're going to have something people are going to want to buy. It's a balancing act for me. And not getting caught up in the details has been a challenge for me, but I feel like I'm getting there. Actually, a lot of the guests that I've watched on USA Global TV have really helped me with that. A lot of the interviews that we've done together have been with people who help you think that the world is bigger than the one you know. The world is more than you know. So,
absolutely.
I mean, a lot of what I need, I get from USA Global TV.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Al. I feel the same way when it comes to Friday night and I'm finished broadcasting all week. I'm just so grateful for everything that I've learned, because we have people from all over the world who are experts in all different topics, and people who are sharing what's going on in their country and their world. And you don't get that on mainstream television. You'd have to sit there for weeks to try to consume that kind of content.
I mean, sometimes it's a business program. Sometimes it's a personal growth program. Sometimes it's a lifestyle health program. Sometimes it's travel. And you never know. And every one of those topics is an open door that you could choose to walk through. But if you don't know the door is there, the opportunity never presents itself. And that's the difference I believe you're making with the network you've built. You've done a great job.
Well, thank you. And I couldn't have done it without you. I say that all the time. You say, no, it's not true. But
nice
yes, it
kind of you
is
to
true.
say, but I'm sure you could have. And I do like, by the way, the new voiceover. It worked for me when I listened to it today. I'm far enough away from it now that it feels really comfortable. And but your rebranding, I think, for this year and your relaunch has really put you on a great path.
Well, thank you. What people don't know is you've done an incredible voiceover, but I was pretty much a stickler on it, and you redid it. I don't know how many times, 5?
I don't know. It felt more like 350, but no, I think it was only about 5 times. It was only about 5 times. Mostly it was technical more than anything. And that's just, but I think we got a pretty good result. And I think your new lead-in graphic and I think your new logo are just really powerful. And I think they really tell the story.
Well, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. I decided to put that slide up for before the actual intro and then the slide at the end, because what was happening was as soon as the video clicked off, I was there and I was like, whoa, I didn't even have a second to get myself before I said hello and welcome. So.
Smart move on your part.
Thank you. Well, I'm learning from you, learning from the best. So
Good work.
What is the best way for people to reach out to you? Are you still providing these workshops that people can sign up for? Of course.
The workshops are doing really well. I mean, not only is the demand for them growing, which is very gratifying, but the response we're getting from the people that have attended have been really gratifying too. Easiest way to get a hold of me is to call me at the ProFit for Teams phone number, which is 212-480-3730. And let's talk about how we can make your next Zoom meeting really Zoom, rather than just sort of sit there and do nothing, which is what a lot of Zoom meetings do. So that's my pitch. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you so much, Al. It was wonderful seeing you again. And
Pleasure.
I look forward to chatting during the week.
I'll look forward to that too. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye now.
Thank you to those of you who are watching or listening on the live or on the replay. We really do appreciate you. And we invite you and welcome you to be a guest on our shows. If you go over to our website, which is usaglobaltvandradio.com or usaglobaltv.com, you'll see at the top, book your session. And I just wanted to share a couple of things that are new under book your session. And because of some incredible coaching that I received from the doctor and also from Joe, I put together a couple of courses a course actually and a package to help people. So as you know, if you've been following me at all, in addition to USA Global TV and Radio, I also have drjacalyn.com, which is another business that I have where I teach people how to listen at an elevated level. And listening can be listening to your intuition. It can also be listening intently as someone who has provided a safe space for others to share. So what I really want to do and am doing is to provide people services before and after their interview. So if you are being referred by a publicist or you found us through Google or referral and you're thinking, I'm a little concerned, I'm nervous, I'm not an expert when it comes to interviewing skills, I'll definitely help you with that. So one of the things that I'm offering now is this new package called the Podcaster Pro package. And there are 3 services that are underneath included in this package. And one is for the person to have the opportunity to take the Power of Listening course. And I was just telling someone the other day, I feel like this course is so important for everyone. I've made it very accessible at $39. Originally, it was several $100s. And I know because we have people from all over the world that they can't afford that. So for $39, which you can even pay over time, believe it or not, you learn how to listen without judgment, without interruption, without stage hogging, without problem solving. And I highly recommend everyone take this course, not because it's going to make me rich, because it's certainly not going to, but it's because it's important to learn how to listen. That's how we show up with emotional intelligence. Integrity is being an effective listener. And as I've shared many times on the Listening Mentor TV show, we can't be listening at an elevated level all of the time because it's exhausting. That's what I do here all week. And if you are feeling in your own life, your personal life, your professional life, that you're not being heard, you're not being listened to, I would challenge you to ask yourself, how much of a listener are you? Are you showing up at an effective, at an elevated level? So you can take the course, go over to our website again, usaglobaltvandradio.com or usaglobaltv.com. So that's the first thing that's included in this package. The second thing that's included is the art of being a professional interviewer. This is a 2-hour course that I'm offering live in addition to people being able to purchase the link to watch it on their own. We have testimonials from 6 broadcasters who are from around the world who have decades and decades of experience, and they share their tips for success about how you can stand out and be different than everyone else. And for myself, I have over 3,300 and some broadcasts that I've done in the last 2+ years, 2.5 years, really. So I've learned a lot of things that I share with you in that. And then finally, the last part is you get a 90-minute coaching session with me. So you get the tools and the skills that you learn, but then we actually do role plays. And these role plays are really important because I'll put you on the spot in the coaching session, just like if you were on the air, but you're not being critiqued when you're on the air. You're being judged, and you're being judged all the time anyway. I'm being judged right now. People watching or listening and saying, what is she talking about? Or people are thinking, wow, this sounds fantastic. But if you are interested in being the best that you can possibly be as a podcaster, as an interviewer, as a broadcaster, please do go over to our website and book your session to be a part of this Podcaster Pro package. Okay, and the last thing I want to mention is I also have another new course. I love this graphic because so much of our lives are being run by artificial intelligence, and so much of our life is on devices, and we learn how to depend on them instead of learning how to communicate like a curious human. So this course is also 2 hours. And what we're going to do in this course is to focus on communication skills. We're going to start with, what type of listener are you? Are you even aware there are different types of listening? There are. So we'll look at that, and then we'll have some role plays between the people who are attending. We'll watch some videos of role plays also. And then we'll learn about the power of observation. When you are listening, when you are communicating, are you observing the other person, or have you checked out? Are you on your device? And if you are observing, are you observing if someone is being truthful? Are you able to tell if someone's truthful or if they are possibly lying or coming up with a creative excuse? We look at those things as well as studying overall body language. If someone is like this, or maybe they're turned away from you, are they really listening with an open mind, with an open heart? So we'll review all of these things. And again, you can sign up for this course over on our website, usaglobaltvandradio.com. All right, that's all we have for now. We're coming right back with Talking Heads and our expert, Caroline Huard. She is the Harley Street stress expert, joining us from London. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.